This is Anthonyyarde, and you're about to hear my top 10 boxers of all time. So in no particular order, I'm gonna start off with Floyd Money Mayweather. The record speaks for itself. The resume speaks for itself. He fought, I think, the most world champions in boxing history. He'll be up there for one of the greatest of all time. You got Roy Jones Jr. Yeah, in my opinion, the most naturally talented, I would say, athlete in the boxing game in history. He started off a lot of moves in boxing. You got hand speed, combination punching, good footwork. You got everything. I'm a person that pays massive homage to Roy Jones Jr. You also got the monster, Iron Mike Tyson, the most feared man, the baddest man on the planet. The reason I put Tyson in there is because Tyson's one of the reasons I started boxing. Sheer entertainment. If you want to see knockouts, if you want to see explosiveness, excitement, it's Mike Tyson, all day, every day. Definitely in the top 10 of all time. Then you got, arguably, the best boxer ever to live. You got the one and only Sugar Ray Robinson. All the other greats that you see learned a lot from Sugar Ray Robinson. Even me, I watch a lot of Sugar Ray Robinson and learn a lot. You know, you got Angelo Dundee and a lot of other experts who label Sugar Ray Robinson as the greatest ever boxer to live. Phenomenal fighter, great footwork, fantastic left hook. Sugar Ray Robinson, I always pay homage. Rest in peace, and I will say that he's definitely up there with the top 10 of all time. And then you got Sugar Ray Leonard, who got his name Sugar Ray from Sugar Ray Robinson. But Sugar Ray Leonard, again, when you're talking about hand speed, combination punches, similar to Roy Jones Jr., Sugar Ray Leonard has to be mentioned. They called him he's a sweet guy with a monstrous punch. A gentleman outside the ring, but in the ring he's a monster. When I found out that Sugar Ray Leonard was following me on Instagram, again, that was one of my moments. That was one of my moments where, it was a moment where I took in, a moment that I took in. Sugar Ray Leonard for me has always been one of my greatest fighters, always been one of my favourite fighters, and someone that paved the way for me to be where I'm at, and someone that I watched, hours of. I watched hours of Sugar Ray Leonard when I first started boxing, and even now, for entertainment purposes and for learning purposes. So we always pay homage to the one and only Sugar Ray Leonard. Also, you can't forget the badass, James Toney, JT, the guy that just don't give a shit. I love James Toney because he don't think his way. He called out everybody. James Toney didn't shy away from nobody. People as well, they need to go back and do the research on James Toney because James Toney is one of them people. He was a world champion from young. He fought the best young. And if you go and look at his resume and who he fought to get to the top, they wasn't easy opponents. They wasn't easy opponents at all. And his amateur record, I don't know too much about, but I know he didn't win no gold Olympic medal or nothing like that. He done things the hard way in the eyes of boxing. And in my opinion, he will always be a great, top 10 great of all time. Okay, Julio Cesar Chavez, masterful body puncher. Go and look at his highlights on YouTube, master of the feints. So Julio Cesar Chavez shouldn't only be celebrated in the Mexican community, should be celebrated amongst all the boxing. Julio Cesar Chavez. We're gonna go back in time. Willie Pep, the great Willie Pep, masterful boxer. Again, he's in the same region as Floyd Mayweather when it comes to defensive boxing. Willie Pep, in my opinion, was a master at footwork. His footwork was phenomenal. The angles he used, he will punch off of different angles and he will come, it was mad, Go and research Willie Pep. There's not too much footage out there of him, again, because he's an older fighter. Since I watched him 1 or 2 times, I kept watching different videos of him or what I could find of him on YouTube. But again, Willie Pep's someone that we need to pay homage to. Fantastic fighter. Next in line, I will have to say the great heavyweight, former undisputed heavyweight champion, a fellow Brit. Some people, will argue that, but Lennox Lewis, one of the best jabs in the game. Lennox Lewis, again, we pay him homage, but not enough in my opinion. He fought the best out there, he beat the best out there, regardless of when it was. And again, he beat someone who, again, I don't like to use the word idolize, but someone I look to as one of the best, and that's Mike Tyson. Even though it was late in the careers and etc. and things like that, but he's still done it. He's still done it. It shows a certain mental capability when someone stays that focused throughout their whole career. So yeah, the great Lennox Lewis, heavy puncher, great jab, didn't take too much shots in boxing. That's why you still see him with all these faculties now, still being able to be involved in boxing at this day. So again, we all have to pay homage to the great Lennox Lewis. Okay, so to finish off, a lot of people will be able to predict this one, but we can't finish this greatest of all time, or top 10 of all time, without mentioning the actual greatest, and that's Muhammad Ali. All respects to Muhammad Ali. He paved the way for almost every fighter that came after him in terms of being able to have a voice, being able to be himself, and again, the style of boxing. Ali done things where he got criticised for early in his career, leaning back, crossing his feet, hands down, everything you can think of. And again, this is parts of the reason why we label Muhammad Ali as the greatest of all time. Not only what he done inside the ring, but what he done outside the ring as well. He, again, for black people in general, he helps make a change in the world. And again, that's something I will always pay homage to, something I will always respect, because he risked, at the time, his boxing career to have a voice and to stand up for what he believed in. I'll leave this to you guys to go and research yourselves. But he stood for more than just boxing. So, the great Muhammad Ali, everyone knows who he is, so I won't talk too much about him and what he done and what he stood for. But again, we'll all bow our heads, we'll all confess that he's the greatest of all time. Amen. So that's the end of this saga. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, you know what I'm talking about. But please like the video, subscribe, and leave your comments below, because I want to interact with you guys. I want to see your views. I want to see what you think of my top 10, what your top 10 is, and I might do another video in the future. So thank you for watching, thank you for the support, and it's Lions in the Camp. Love always.